I'd like to call the May 12th Utilities Committee meeting to order. The Secretary let it be known Mr. Turner and Mr. Lawler are both working. Mr. Thomas, would you lead us in the invocation followed by the pledge?
Yes, sir. Let's bow our heads, please. Most Heavenly Father, as we come tonight, we come with praise, come to say thank you, Lord, for the many blessings you bestowed upon us. Father, as we come, Lord, we ask, Lord, that you guide us through this meeting tonight. I pray a blessing upon each and every person under the sound of my voice. And Lord God, as we come, Lord, we ask, Lord, that you allow us to get home safe and sound to our families. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, man. There's no chair additions. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign in with the Secretary. Before we get to general business, we want to go ahead and add F, and Mr. Turner is here. It'll be discussion on the Donaldsonville water tank for painting and some other maintenance item. I'd like to add that for discussion on F, if that's okay with the committee.
Yes, sir.
Moved by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Wagensback. That is F. Move on to A, the director's report. Mr. Bill.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hopefully we'll have a short report tonight. I wanted to just give you the status of the transfer of assets to NWI. That I know we say that every time we get here, but I've been told that that's going to happen within a month. So but we'll see next month whether it happens. Sewer treatment issues. We have a couple of things here just to inform you about. Silver Oaks, we got a significant non-compliance from DQ about that. We're working with NWI to get that resolved. LDQ performed an office and field inspection at Stony Point Estates, and everything was found in compliance there. Parks at Water Oak, maybe you guys remember that. You're familiar with that one, Dempsey? That's Ross Berthelot, and what had happened is that we didn't transfer the treatment plant at the time, and then the treatment plant had issues, so we wouldn't take it, but now they went and made modifications to the treatment plant, and they achieved the 3 consecutive months with no exceedances, so we've agreed to transfer that asset over to the parish. We told you in the beginning when we came here for the first meeting that we had our goals for 2022 and we would update those every month. So we have this first goal of providing safe and quality drinking water to residents of the West Bank, and that's still our goal, and I think we're achieving that to this point. Jason is going to talk tonight a little bit more about the specifics in the water plant. But that continues to be one of our top, if not the top priority. Evaluation of the current meter system in both ACUD and PUA. We're real close to getting SJB completing that and giving us the final report. I feel comfortable that by the meeting next month, we'll have that report we can bring to you, get it to you ahead of the meeting. Remedy the compliance issues on ACUD 2. That, as far as the utilities is concerned, we've taken care of our part of that. Finance, if they want to make an attempt to collect these overdue bills, then, that's their prerogative. Provide assistance for LPSC, we talked about that. No injuries reported for this period. And the consolidated utility statement, I'm still working on that. And I think that's going to be something that possibly would have by the end of by next month. And in that, we'll combine what was left of ACUD 2, PUA, and ACUD 1, consolidate that into one profit and loss, one balance sheet, so we can see how our utilities doing as a whole. But I hope to have that to you next month. On Mr. Chairman, you want to go to B, or you want me to walk down these?
If you don't mind, we'll go ahead and take questions on these, on your director's report.
Okay.
Before we move on.
Okay.
Any questions, Mr.?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Dawson, you mentioned about the being consistent on keeping safe drinking water, and you mentioned about making sure that everything is in order in terms of we had the reconnecting fee, which was $42. We brought it to $20. Also, I wanted to mention in being consistent with the water bills, so to speak, putting in the meters. That was my other question, was how far are we with the meters? About how close are we with Mr. Wilford?
Yeah. Look, we plan on having a report to you next month, his report. He hasn't submitted a report to me yet, but I am satisfied with the work that he's done so far, and I think you've been privy to some of that ahead of time, and he's looked at those meters and made some recommendations. We also brought in the Neptune people, and they looked at our meters, and they looked at his findings, and we made some changes in our procedures because of that. We also are looking more closely at the variance reports. That's before you mail out the bills, and Kim might can talk some about that tonight, but hopefully we've made these changes and we'll see less of these large variations in the bills.
Well, that was my next question, was I really want to commend yourself and Ms. Bro and her staff for being consistent on the water bill, so to speak. We hadn't had any inconsistent, as I usually would say, water bills. I think pretty much everybody's been pretty satisfied with the water bills being as they are in the right spot. And again, we're trying to continue to make sure our bills are consistent and being as low as possible.
Yeah, being correct.
Yeah, being correct it's the right word. Being correct and being as low as possible.
Well, I appreciate
again,
that feedback. And I know you get the feedback from the residents.
Right.
I don't get that, so I appreciate you relaying that to us.
Well, that's it's been. I talked with Ms. Bro earlier, and explained that to. I hadn't been having the calls that I usually have, so
That's good.
doing a good job. Just keep it up and let us continue being consistent with it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, Mr. Wangspack, y'all good? Okay, Bill, well, thank you for the report, director's report. We'll move on to B, the PUA and ACUD billing. Ms. Bro?
Good evening. Okay, we're gonna be quick, even though it's long, we'll be quick. We've been busy at the billing office. We have, hurricane season is here. We have implemented a hurricane emergency plan. So we now have a clear plan. We have all the required daily logs printed, ready to go, that is required for any reimbursement. We have a chain of command for personnel on who's to call who. We have runner meals plan established. Manual work orders have been created. So in the event we go down without electricity, we have a way to track any customer complaint. Manually type it in once we come back up live. The billing system, we are actively working towards having one billing system. We are in the process of reviewing different billing companies, doing demos. Hopefully, we will have a recommendation soon. ACUD number 1 has went live for online payments. ACUD number 1 now receives online payments through the customer portal. This also includes working with the parish finance to provide them the documents that they need every day to balance properly. If a customer would like to pay online, they can go to centralparish.net/department/utilities. They can also call a toll-free number for credit card payments at 1-855-960-6191. Please note, Councilman Thomas, unlike PUA, ACUD number 1 cannot accept a credit card payment in the office. Must go through the through the 800 number. Our field staff and office personnel have received their 2022 ethics training. So I'm proud to report that our whole entire office is 100% complete required by law for our state ethics training that's not due until December 31st, and we're done. I am currently working with James LeBlanc to conduct a safety meeting on the hazards of summer regarding heat exhaustion, the importance of staying hydrated, and dangerous species that the field guys could encounter this year. Billing. I am now being trained on how to bill ACUD number 1 bills. Darlene, who was our teller for many, many years, has been moved to the back office, and she is our lead PUA billing clerk. By making this change, this allows Darlene to devote 100% of her time to the PUA bills to make sure they are 100% accurate before billing. I also believe this was a recommendation from the auditors at one time to separate billing and collections if you had staff, so I think we've addressed that little issue as well. This also allows if any in-office rereads are required during the billing process, we see a high or low consumption. This allows her to dedicate that time to input that information into the customer's account. So if they call and say, my bill, shot up this month, she can go back and look and tell her what date that was reread and who reread it, that meter, before that was billed. We also have a new hire in our staff. We would like to welcome Ms. Chandra Demby. Sandra is a resident of Donaldsonville. She's a mother of 5. She comes to us from the DMV office in Donaldsonville. So she fully understands the concept of working with public funds and how we need to be accurate. She will be trained on collections for both ACUD and PUA. She will also begin to learn new accounts for ACUD number 1. So we look forward to having her for many years. So if you see her, please welcome her to our staff. All right, Coach, this may interest you as well. Meters. During the last billing cycle for ACUD number 1, it was discovered several meters were not picking up electronically. After meeting with Neptune, it was discovered that the meter register and the base both must be changed, not just the register. The base has to be changed. We have corrected all of those issues. We also discovered a few locations were generating 0 reads. Those meters had to be read manually at that point. After going through our system, it was discovered meter numbers were not put into the system properly. Rest assured that has not affected any bill. We have corrected every error. We have also went through our files and discovered meter change cards. I personally went through every meter change card and matched that account with that meter number to ensure those were correct. Any inactive meters were marked inactive. I'm currently working with Neptune right now, who is our meter provider for ACUD number 1, to provide me with a spreadsheet of all meter numbers, accounts, and addresses so we can cross-reference to make sure that everything is correct. Lastly, I'm continuing to work with SJB regarding the meter reads, staff billing, and they have interviewed our staff, they've interviewed our meter readers, and we're going to continue to work with them. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Chairman, the thing I wanted to ask was we talked about this, I guess, maybe a month ago. We mentioned, but before the bills go out, an enormous bill go out, that we check it before we send it out to the customer.
Those bills. So what we're doing, we're going through a variant sheet on both. PUA and ACUD does both. Right now, it's taken a little bit of time on the ACUD side. There are some vacant houses that, they have their meter, they're, showing up a zero read, it's still a variance, so we still, zero read, we're gonna send someone out. On the variance, it's set at 25%. What we're doing is we're going through, if the consumption doubled and it did not increase their bill, it's still going to be a minimum bill. We're not rechecking that meter.
Okay.
If it is a high consumption bill, Floyd is going out manually writing the current reads and giving it to me. If it's accurate, we're inputting the system into it. If it's a faulty meter, of course, we will have to estimate that bill at that time and then put in a new meter. As soon as we find a faulty meter that's not picking up properly, a meter change card is written that day.
Okay. Again, that was one of my biggest concerns.
I mean, Councilman Thompson, we don't have the staff to call everybody and say your bill is
I
gonna go up.
understand.
We have, trying to inform the public that summer's coming. The kids are playing with sprinklers and
Right,
swimming pools. Their bills will go up. They will fluctuate.
We understand, I understand that, and again, I appreciate you all working, as hard as you are working, and, just to identify that situation. Because the last time I had an elderly lady that was real concerned, she had got a bill, was tremendously, really over her head, and, she was really upset about it, so, again, we
I
have
know we
taken
done that.
time to correct that, and that was the only thing that I was concerned with. And as we go on, things are being corrected. The other thing I had was I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Denby on coming aboard. Look forward to working with her and moving forward. So
She's learning quick.
she is she's a good one that we picked up. So just want to congratulate her.
Thank you. I'll let her know.
Thank y'all.
Anything, Bill?
Thank you. That's it.
Just a couple of things, Kim. And I'm glad to see the online payments. What about ACUD with no credit card accepted?
In the office.
In the office.
In the office, they call the 1-800 number, 855 number. Councilman, that goes back to the Heartland, the company that was chosen before that contract was started, negotiations, whatever, went to the water company, so that was just, and I kind of do like it that, that takes us off of, the phones, because they're already consistently ringing, so that's a break for us,
That's a
actually,
break,
that they
okay.
call.
And I guess the other thing, just to educate the base, the reason why we're having to change the base is the communication devices are now marrying?
They're not talking to each other.
Okay.
That come out of a meeting with Neptune. Neptune went on site to read these meters with our field staff that was
Perfect.
giving us questions.
Anything from Ms. Bro?
Again, things are going real good thus far, and I would ask that you all continue working as hard as you're working, your staff and yourself and Bill and everybody. We really appreciate it. I hadn't been getting the calls I had used to been, but again,
That's
things are
good.
it's going real good, so I really commend you all for it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Kim. Move on to C, the project and grants. Mr. Call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm going to report on 5 upcoming projects that we have coming up, and what I want to do is report on them and give y'all an opportunity after each one to ask questions about that particular project. The first one is to move the PUA intake structure. Of course, the design is complete, and I think last time we were here, the Department of Health was doing their permitting review. They have completed that, and they have mandated that we dedicate a portable generator at a minimum 100 kW towable generator for that facility. And we are in the process of putting that and applying for one of those in a FEMA grant that's coming down for Hurricane Ida and the floods. The Bayou Lafourche Freshwater District, they've taken bids on the project. They have come in and they're reviewing the bids as we speak. The addendum has been added as far as the grade changes that we put in after they had gone out, but it has not been rewarded yet. So, do we have any questions on that one?
Any questions on the Bayou Lafourche?
Okay. The next one would be the PUA water meter replacement program. As we reported previously, the right of entry letters have been signed by the City of Donaldsonville and the parish president. The anticipated contract award date was set for June 19th. That has been at Division for review for a while. They have finished one part of the review, which is the Corps' request. They've been given the money and they have to file a report to do the scope and the intent use for that money. That has been reviewed and approved. And right now they are doing, they're going to be reviewing the project partnership agreement. And that's what stage they're in now, and they anticipate 2 weeks to get that completed. Questions on that one? Okay.
Good, man.
The second is the line replacement program, which is, that one is again at Division for review. They've approved a change request, and they're going to be in the process of reviewing the partnership agreement also on that. Okay, and we're starting the elevated storage altitude valve. The contractor was supposed to start Monday. He's had a job superintendent that fell ill, so they've put that back until they may start tomorrow. If not, it will be Monday. They've already got the notice to proceed, and as of now, the valve has been delivered, and everything else seems to be on schedule. And we are moving forward with PUA generators for the water plant and the ground storage facility. We've had a mandatory pre-bid meeting. We took questions up until yesterday, and engineer released amendments and answering the questions today. And there's going to be a virtual bid opening on the 17th. And that, once we get that, that should be set for completion. And that October 31st date should be done far before that. It should be completed well before that. Any questions there?
I guess on the last thing, Carl,
Yes.
so we'll have all of our units they'll be backfed, for hurricane season, so we should have all backup power on these units, correct?
Not possibly for this hurricane season, depending, of course, not for the start of the season, definitely. Possibly by August when things get tight. We have tried to schedule the progression of the project so that when the generators are delivered on August 29th, and that's usually a bad day for hurricanes.
Yes, the heat of it.
We're hoping to have it for them to be able to take from the truck and just hook it up and do the tie-in work.
I see you have natural gas and diesel driven. So you
One
got
of them
both.
is
You
the
can have both.
diesel, the water plant would be a natural gas.
Any questions for Carl?
All right.
Yeah, guys.
Mr. Thomas, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to clarify, I think all the time we talk about the PUA and the HCUD1, and we talk about it, and I'm not sure whether the general public understand the PUA is city limits and the
Correct.
HCUD1 is parish.
It's
And I'm not
the
sure
rural surrounding
whether the
areas. Yes.
general public is aware of that, that when they say PUA, that means we're in the city limits of Donaldsonville.
Correct.
And ACUD1 is the outskirts and in the
Yes.
parish.
All the
It goes to
rural
the parish
areas,
lines,
yes.
yeah. Had we yet combined the two at any time? We was talking about it, and.
That is in discussions, and that is in discussions as part of the water resource project that's upcoming.
Okay, the other question was the PUS system. We have identified the worst part of PUA in terms of,
In-house, we have, and we've made recommendations to the engineers as to which spots should be attacked first.
that was my
And
question.
which ones are majorly deficient and which ones have the undersized or the metal pipes.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, if that's it, we'll move on to D, the Diversion Project. Ms. Carl?
Okay. I guess we still have to do that one.
Yeah.
Okay, what we have, and you have the project history in front of you. We have 50 days remaining from the last extension that they were given, and the scheduled completion date is June 30th. We still having problem with the river levels. They can't get that last bit of excavation done because it's right next to the levee on Brown Street. We are working on that. We have already appealed to the Corps of Engineers for a variance on that, which was denied. So we are having to wait for the river to come down. Right now, all this week, and the mark is 11 feet at the Carrollton gauge.
Yeah.
All of this week, that level has stayed consistently at 11.1. So it's right there, but unfortunately, this weekend, it's going back up, and it's not expected to, it's not forecasted to fall again until June 1st. So we've got that window there as far as the excavation part of it. Now, we are trying to move forward with the roads. That's affected by it also. We have put in and petitioned for another waiver to get the road work done, because that is not an excavation. It's a disturbance of 14 inches below the surface, just pulverizing the road, the old asphalt and gravel that's in there now, to form a new road base. And I've been talking to one of the inspection engineers there and communicating with her, and she's moved that to the engineers for review. I sent the petition in and the paperwork in on the 29th. I sent her an email today that I haven't got a response to, asking for an update, and she did not give me that. But the good news, if there is any, is that she says that type waiver to up to 15 feet is easier to get and is more likely to be passed and approved rather than trying to do any type excavations there. So that's where we are with that and the roads. And We've had numerous complaints. I was out this morning, took Joey Turo and I went out there to answer some questions for some of the residents on the problems and the river levels, which they've understood, and Joey answered any questions they had as far as the work to restore the roads. And I think we got some positive feedback from the ones we talked to. And we have also ordered a water truck. There's been some problems with dust recently, and Joey has got his contractor to agree, and he approved a addition to his contract to run a water truck on there on a regular basis to eliminate some of the dust.
Good. Mr. Carr, can you just hold up right there while we're on that subject? Ms. Scott wants to speak on, she lives on Walter Hill.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Tonda Scott, and I'm a resident of Walter Hill Road. And I'm here, I've been speaking with Mr. Carl for the past few months, since about March. And I first want to say thank you, because I do appreciate all the effort that he has put forth with assisting us with this problem that we've been having for over 2 years on the Walter Hill Road and the entire Hillaryville area. But I just want to express our frustration. I'm speaking on behalf of a number of people in the community that we've been working with. A number of members, Councilman Travis Turner, Senator Ed Price, we've been expressing our frustration with this matter. Over 2 years, this road has been torn apart, and we've been having multiple issues far as Carl mentioned, the dust. We're having members of the community having health issues because of the dust. You know, we having to wash vehicles every so many days. We've had damage to the vehicles, damage to your property outside. We don't understand why this particular contract keeps getting an extension. It's like totally frustrating to the members of the community. We feel like we are not being heard. We feel like we've been reaching out to parish officials, and the parish officials have not been providing us any type of updates. I understand the concerns with the Corps with not granting a permit. I do work with federal government, so I understand that process. However, we just don't know why is it taking so long to get this project done. And we keep getting extension after extension after extension. It's a bit frustrating for this community because, again, I'm not sure the reason why it's taking so long with this particular project. Is it because of the community that we're having so many issues with this project? Is it this community that they're allowing this amount of extensions to take place with this project? We know that in other areas this would not take place. We're just a bit frustrated, and like I said, I do appreciate Mr. Carl coming out and talking to us. I do appreciate Mr. Carl calling and giving us updates with this, but this is taking an extremely a long time to get this project done. And we would like to know why and what can be done to expedite this. It's over 2 years. We're having tires. I replaced 3 tires on the vehicle. We contacted the contractor. The contractor told us that there was nothing that they can do. I have other members of the community on my street that have had the same issue. And again, like I said, it's over 2 years. So we constantly having to deal with.
Ms. Scott, your time's up, but we feel your pain, and if you can just hang tight, we're gonna, Mr. Turner's gonna give you some answers, and we'll get some of the other ones up here also to help you out. Okay. But it's amazing that the level of a river has contributed a lot to your problems. And Mr. Turner, I'm sorry, let me go ahead.
I guess, Carl, the first question is, as far as the roads, how long before the parish can get to working on the roads?
I'm sorry.
How long before the parish can get to working on the roads?
They will begin work, it may not be on Walter Hill. We asked the road contractor to make that a priority and to go to that road first. But that, Walter Hill is on the riverside of Highway 22, and 22 is pretty much the delineation at that 1,500 feet from the levee. So we may not be able to get on Walter Hill. If I hear from the Corps, and if they get, she answers my email tomorrow and says we will get that waiver, then we're gonna switch gears and go directly to Walter Hill. But he has plans to start Monday out in the Darrow area and at the, maybe one of the other roads that is not, that's on the other side of 22, which they can work on. But if we get that waiver, as soon as we get that waiver, we're going to shift over the highway to Walter Hill. And Brown Road probably will be a while because that will involve an excavation. But I have ordered the contractor to have a crew sitting there the day it falls, to have a crew there first thing in the morning and complete that work and get that done. Then we can, all of it's been tested, and he's just got to do that 80 feet, 85 feet, I think it is, that they got held up on when the river rose earlier. And we are, and if I may answer, and Ms. Scott's, one of her questions, this project, when I took over last year, it was so far behind that there are methods to remove a contractor from a project, but that would entail having to rebid it and go to the bonding company. And it's one, for the benefit of the residents out there, it would take more time. And we're just trying to bull our way through it and get this thing done so that a lot of these problems, their problems can be alleviated. And I've been working hard with them, and I definitely empathize with everyone out there.
You know, I think a lot of the residents' frustration is due to not seeing people working for months at a time. So the issue is, why aren't there individuals out there working for such large periods of time?
They're continually running across problems. That's the soil is bad, and they were held up at one point in time for a review, and there is work going on. They're just not on the highway. There's work being done where they're pouring concrete and topping off those wet wells that have been completed. There's plumbing inside of the wet wells that are done. There's some force main tie-ins that are being done. And it's not the visible work. There is a lot of stuff that at Marshall School Road, they had some problems with elevations, and they have a lot of problems that I'm trying to get them to work through.
So I guess the question is the problem due to incompetence?
I'm sorry?
Is the problem due to incompetence?
If I guess I would have to temper my comments in a public forum because it is a company, but I'd be willing to discuss with the council members because I don't want to be sued for libel, although they'd be hard put to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
No further questions.
Any other questions? I guess Carl would, with the Corps, so you are sending the letters back and forth and calling?
Yes, I'm communicating with you.
So we have ELOS that deals with our drainage. I don't know if possibly we could get with the parish president or get with Mr. Salvoy I mean, we pay a great deal to this company to deal with, the core. We overlaying a road. I don't see where
Yeah,
we should be
and
holding these folks up.
It is a minor operation, and
Yeah,
the approval is likely, but until it's, you know,
I would-
even on a verbal, I'll take on a verbal.
yeah.
And
I would direct you, if this don't work, I would definitely get a hold and see if we could possibly piggyback off of, Elos, or, I don't know, Bill, if y'all maybe been kind of throwing us around.
I didn't realize that Elos had the contract to work with us on the core, but I'll contact them
Sure,
about
sure.
that. You know, on the roads, I think the thing that I didn't understand at first either was the fact that, you know, there's like a tilling machine that has to go ahead of this, and it produces some vibrations. And that's what the Corps said they had a problem with, was the vibrations on this milling machine that has to run through there. So, you know, again, Carl has prepared the paperwork, but I certainly don't mind calling
Yeah,
Elos, and
Yeah.
if they have a connection at the Corps, then as soon as we get that released, we're gonna go to Walter Hill Road, and that's gonna be the first place that we're gonna work.
And I guess the other thing, we've been dealing with dust control in this parish for a long time. There are chemicals that we should not hear a dust complaint. So, we need to get with our transportation. They can spray the road, they can, you know, do different things for dust control, but we shouldn't be hearing people's having breathing health problems over this. So, yeah, definitely, the dust control should be taken care of. I mean, if we gotta get out, get a company in here to let them spray it, we need to do that.
I'm not sure if did they use the chemical, or did you?
no, it's just water. And they haven't really been out and actually put water down yet, which we discussed this morning. And Joey said he guaranteed me he was going to get with them and make sure that that truck gets rolling.
Okay,
And we also did, as a point, he did mention that during the process, they'll be cutting cement in. And he explained to, Scott was one that was out with us this morning. He explained to her that that's going to produce a lot of dust very temporarily while they're mixing it, while the truck's dumping it. And then they'll be coming back in and mixing it as he's dumping it. But it's going to produce some dust clouds, and and I plan on, and with Ms. Scott's help, make sure all the residents know that on that particular day, we'll let them know ahead of time when that's going to be taking place, and knock on doors and say, you know, if you can, stay inside. If you're not in the area, that's probably best for your vehicles and all, but it's very temporary, and it's just part of the process.
appreciate it. Mr. Thomas?
Is there any accommodation that they can do for the residents in that area for as their cars and the dust that's accumulating in their homes and on their property? I mean, it's just.
Every complaint that I've gotten about a vehicle damage, I've addressed with the contractor, and I've taken the contractor to that resident. And it's one that, to the best of my knowledge, is between the contractor and the resident. I can strongly suggest that the contractor take care of it. As far as enforcement, I don't know what part I can play, with y'all's blessing, I'll be happy to.
Well, maybe, maybe we can look into it and see if there's anything that they can be accommodated with legally for the suffering and the stuff that they're going
Right.
through, that they should be rewarded for
Oh, we can look
in
into
place
that,
of us doing what we doing, or what we not doing, you know, trying to get it done. And there's a lot of stuff go into it, and playing a part in getting that stuff done.
Right.
And it's been there for so long. Just
I would,
hoping we can work something out. I mean, it's just been entirely too long.
I would
mean,
be
that,
happy to do whatever I can do.
Yeah.
well, we're gonna,
Make something right for these people, personally even, I would.
yeah, you're gonna, somewhere along the line, you're gonna have to step in. I mean, before we can, the contractor's only gonna do so much, but let's face it, tires and rims today, they cost money.
Right.
And some of these, it can really mess up a car, so I would be willing, someone needs to referee between the resident and the contractor,
And
because,
I've tried,
know.
but as far as, and I would be happy to get with y'all to set some limits and tell me what I can do to try to help.
Well, we need
enforce.
to go legally, excuse me though.
yeah, go ahead.
Legally, I mean, we need to go and see if there's anything there that we can do, you know,
Right.
to make sure. I mean, other than you saying, you know, you trying to do what you can, but
Right. And
we need to
we
go a
can
little
speak with
deeper
legal and see
and
how
figure
far
out-
that
figure out,
I can go or we can go.
what this
Yeah.
contractor is responsible for and what he's not, and,
Right.
and if he's responsible for whatever it is, make him pay for it.
All right. Anything else on the Dover sewer?
That's pretty much,
All right. We'll move on to E, the water plant update from Jason.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. Jason Lichardi, Operations Manager for the utilities in Donaldsonville. Water plant operator for 27 years. We've had a few issues with our pumps, nothing that the residents have noticed or anything like that, but it's something that maybe Coach or somebody from parish government needs to address with energy. Several times a year, we lose a leg at our raw water station. And occasionally it has cost us motors. Rebuild on the motors are about $5,000 or $6,000, a new one $6,000 or $7,000. Of course, everything is going up now, but we've had the issue twice in the last month and a half, and we've had to bring in temporary pumping to accommodate the bringing in water to the plant. We have started our emergency preparedness We've started working on our emergency preparedness. There's a meeting next week, 2 weeks with OEP. And although we do not have all of the equipment that we normally have, we are making arrangements to secure that equipment by contract and get everything up to speed. The ACUD system in Palo Alto has a dedicated generator that OEP is going to dedicate to us. The generators that we are purchasing will not be in place in time for the start of hurricane season. So we were required by DHH to have 200 kW at the plant under contract until our permanent power is in place. We will not have anything at raw water, but we do have a natural gas option there. So we can use the natural gas motor to pump out of the reservoir, the 1 million gallon tank, and we will have electricity at the plant, and we have auxiliary pumps there that we can feed from the clear well. The loss of the generator at the raw water station is going to be the issue, and we are going to rent a temporary pump probably through the whole hurricane season to have it on contract and standby. It will be probably put in place and under contract for the duration so we don't get caught like we did with Ida again. To clarify the ACUD PUA situation, I have the maps in my office. You're more than welcome to stop by any time. The systems are intermingled a little bit. ACUD comes up as far as the mayor's house, comes into Smoke Bend. But in Smoke Bend, it's all fire protection. PUA goes all the way down to Jules Drive. Our customers on Jules Drive for PUA. The system's really intermingled. Anybody that would like to see it, I'd be more than happy to discuss and go over it with you. You asked about the root of our problems or the most significant areas, and we have identified that. I spend most of my time there. And it's in between Veterans and Catalpa. bound by Second Street and the railroad tracks. We spend probably 75% of our repair budget in that area. It is just that bad. Now, we have run against some lead and some lead whips and things like that, and that will have to be addressed. I believe in 2 years, we're gonna have to make an assessment and report all the lead. We have repaired some lead on Iberville, and also St. Patrick has leaded joints. It's coming down the pipe. It's not here yet, but it will need to be addressed in the next 2 years. They're working on the exact rules and regulations that we're gonna have to follow. But when we run across it, we generally pull it out if we can. Yes, sir. Mr. Bill has also asked me to report with y'all the production numbers. Basically, how much water we are filtering at the plant. And I don't know if y'all have my email, but it's basically 35 million, 35.9 January, 33.0 February, 35.4 March, 35.0 in April. We are working on getting the loss report a little more accurate before we can present it to you. We're just short a couple of things. Other than that, if somebody would like to help out with the energy thing, it would be great. If not, I'm sure Mr. Bill's got a contact or two over there that he can get on with.
Well,
Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
all right, I'd like to set a meeting up with you, and then we sit down and talk about it and see what direction we need to go in, and give my assistance in whatever way we can to try and better
That would
the
be great.
condition.
We have a local contact that, basically the person we need to wake up at night. And she's been great, and she's passed on the torch to another lady that really works with us well. Unfortunately, we were the only ones affected by this time, but the outage was so bad that it blew our electric meter, and they had to replace it at raw water. We also lost a motor, but forensically proving that is the issue.
Okay,
So we have taken steps in purchasing equipment, monitoring equipment that's going to report back to our SCADA, and eventually when it's all hooked up, our SCADA will not allow our equipment to run if the legs aren't all hot.
right,
And that's the issue we're having, is we're losing one leg. I can't ask an operator to go work in a live 480 panel.
no,
There are a couple of operators that I would trust to do it, but I'm not gonna ask one of those guys to do it. They're not trained electricians. But if something happens, our liability is through the roof. So this phase monitor is the best route we can go, and it's transferable to the new pump station when we build it. Just remove it from one, and put it in the other, so, we'll get our money worth out of it. The SCADA system will prevent the motors from starting, and our operators will be aware and not be able to start the motors without 3 good legs.
sound like a winner. We get together, and decide on what direction we need to go in, and get with Mr. Bill Dawson over there, and
Yes, sir.
we'll figure it out and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Jason? If- Mr. Wagsby?
I mean, is that something we need to get bid out, Bill? What he's asking to put on this? I mean, is this something we need to get bid or get an estimate and
We
approve
have a
it?
contract with ICE, who does all our SCADA support.
Okay.
And the cost is going to be probably around $5,000. And we already have the contract in place.
Okay, so y'all are gonna do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I
it's-
didn't know if we needed to,
The equipment wasn't that bad. The install and then the reprogramming of SCADA, but it'll be between 5 and 10 when it comes in.
Okay.
But we have ICE under a $50,000 contract,
okay.
and they were going to take care of it for us.
Just wanted to make sure it's not something we need to, have an item approve and,
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
well,
Thank you.
That was it. I guess one other thing was, you'd mentioned the lead pipe.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all keeping an account of how many miles or how many feet we have?
We've only encountered it in a couple of different locations. One was a lead whip, which means a service connection And when we ran across it, it was actually part that was leaking. And we can repair them, but we can't repair them correctly. So I just had the contractor pull it out completely and replace it with PE tubing.
That's what I was gonna, and I think we all agree. Mr. Dawson, we attended the police jury convention, and I think this is where we need to have all of our footage, because the money that's coming down, they want all the lead pipe out of the ground.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're doing the right thing, you're taking it out as you making your repairs, but we need to know how many, I don't know how we can find out, but we're gonna.
That's going to be part of the reporting. There's going to be we're going to have to actually dig some things up. But one of the incidents in one of St. Patrick Street that we ran into was lead jointed pipe. It's cast iron pipe that's lead jointed. And yes, they're going to attack it all. They're going to want it. And then shortly after that, probably, maybe not in our lifetimes, but some of the younger guys, they'll be going after asbestos next. They have started sampling for asbestos piping.
Good.
So we don't have any issues, but there's about 33% of our system is asbestos, concrete pipe.
Yeah.
That'll be the next ticket, but that'll be for the next few administrations.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's just as long as you're keeping a record.
Everything we run into, well, Coach, I've told them in that back area, we just need to not even worry about what's there, just
Change.
go completely fresh.
Yes.
There's more stuff off the map than is on the map. Back there is what I'm finding. The more time I spend back there, the more time I spend in doing these distribution repairs, the more I'm finding that the maps as built we have aren't even close.
Good job, Will.
Appreciate you, Jason.
Not a problem at all. Y'all are all welcome to tour the plant though, anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
Chase
Appreciate
isn't here, I can't give him a hard time.
Yeah.
We're
Thank you.
gonna
Thank you,
move on
guys.
to, thank you so much. We're gonna move on to F real quick with the, discussion of the, repairs at the Dawsonville water tank. Possibly-
Mr. Chairman, if you will, tonight, I think it was just to introduce this to you, that we have this inspection report. Coach, has requested that. We had this already done. And my recommendation is that you look at this and see what you want to do, and we'll maybe make a decision on it the next time. My recommendation is we put something in the budget for 2023 to address which portion of it you want. $1 million, complete job. I don't know. I mean, we have to see. I think that's something, again, that has to be in the budget cycle.
Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In checking for the exterior for us to paint it, and in checking, you found that we need some other work, is what you mentioned to me earlier.
Well, that's correct. I mean, I don't expect you to read that whole inspection report, but, they do recommend repainting the outside, and they recommend repainting the inside. I think we'll have to look at that just a little bit closer before we decide what we want to take on at what time. I think we're all in agreement. Jason, I've talked to him earlier, that the inside part is something that doesn't have the criticality of, really the appearance on the outside. So again, when you have some time to look at that, then come back and see how much you want to put in the budget for 2023 to paint the tank. I think we also, Jason has an idea that, and I agree with that. We need to look at the numbers, but before you spend $1 million on this tank, and it's a little bit undersized for the plant that we have, then perhaps we look at, do we want to build something and build a bigger one that's new. So that's the kind of thing we need to look at before we make this final decision.
Good discussion. Mr. Wagensbank?
So when's the last time is this functional right now?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in service.
Okay.
The inspection report was done April 2019.
Yeah, okay.
The tank inside looks pristine. There is a little damage up on the roof area.
Okay.
But to invest $1 million in fixing this, that'll last 10 years. When they did the report, the Vice President of Owen White, David Kozan, and I spoke about it, and I said, it doesn't make sense to do this if we can go 10 years and build a $2 million. $2 million solves a lot of problems, a lot of issues, gives us multiple options in emergencies. It's incredible to have. And for the cost of, if we budgeted over the next 10 years to build this tank, it just makes sense.
So to give you an idea, this is obviously your feed tank, and so, if we could double the size of that and we go to 48 hours, if we have an emergency before we have to shut the plant down. So a lot of advantages, as Jason has said, to look at this a little more closely before we spend $1 million redoing that one.
The biggest hindrance is the exterior coating is over $200,000. Now, I understand the problem with the logo, and I've heard that Peoples is giving us issues about that, legal issues about that. I don't think it would be an issue to pressure wash the tank and slap a coat of paint on it, but to recoat it the way they're describing with $200,000, I think is excessive, and that I would rather see the money planned down the line in our budget to build a new tank, if it's possible.
Is that something, is that something you're gonna work on, Bill, as far as like a budget for?
That's gonna be, I'm gonna put an item in the budget for next year, so we should be starting the budgeting process June, July. But I mean, we're right on the budgeting process, so I'm thinking that's.
I got somewhere this would fit in finance. We're trying to get, different departments to come present to us their budgets, so if you want to volunteer for
Well,
finance.
there you go. We'll
I'll
present,
talk to
we'll be
Mr.
glad to
Goldsmith
present
and
the utilities
put you on the
budget to
schedule.
you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we may need to, we'll get on the schedule, but I would like to, get that people's symbol off, because I mean, that's, people's been gone for 2016, so, and, we still have it. If we can get that, fairly,
So we get something in the budget, we make a decision about what we're gonna do, we get something in the budget for next year, maybe early next year, or we can look and see. I mean, just right now, I'm reluctant to commit too much money in the budget because, we are running pretty close there as far as enterprise, as far as breaking even.
Well,
we sit down and talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
the main object is you're trying to double your capacity is what you're trying to do.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, the monies that are coming down, I mean, somebody's gonna be able to track something with this, down the road. So, yeah, I think we headed in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
Not my specialty by any means. Yeah, to let somebody else handle that one.
Yes, sir.
I mean, like, Coach, I'll be happy to slap a coat of paint on the ground storage tank. I got no issue with that at all.
I'll
I
get with
can't
you.
help you with the elevated tank at all.
I'll be
Yeah.
getting with you,
Yeah.
Jason.
That's way too up.
Yes, sir.
Too far up for me.
I agree with it.
All right, any other questions? None, we'll move to the adjourn.
All right.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourns. Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Wangsback. We adjourn.